Okay, so this is an animation of an attempt by me to do a Medusa cycle. So you've got her slithering like a snake. Now, one problem I had with this rig, which is from Turong's site, is that it's not really engineered to do this type of cycle. It's if we look at the rig, here's part of the rig from the cycle. It has a master control here, and if you rotate this, it rotates everything, which isn't what you want. Yeah, the IK controls are not the best either. But the interesting thing, and the reason I'm showing this video, it's going to be pretty fast, is just to show you that even with rigs that are not purposed to do things, you can, using layers and a bit of imagination, get them to do roughly what you want them to. So with this one, even though it's not engineered to slither like a snake per se, you can simply take these are IK controls, and they move the individual parts of the anatomy of the snake body. You can actually just animate those like a fish. So if you take one of these controls, I'll show you, these are my animation layers here. If you take one of these controls, I'm looking at the base layer, and in the translate X, I have it going from side to side, and then I offset that with another one here. And really like if you look at the fish swim cycle, it's a very similar thing. So I am able to get this kind of moving, this back. I'll mute this so you can see what I'm talking about. I'll mute this here. Just going to mute these. So you get this kind of backwards, I have to excuse what the arms are doing now. It's kind of backwards and forwards movement, yeah? Let's undo that. So that's the first thing. And then, of course, the actual forward motion is just using the master control. If you look at that, it's just going forward in a straight line, yeah? Now, she runs on slightly uneven surface, which means that you have to adjust. That means it's a little bit labor intensive. It means that as she goes down, you're adjusting the height of these controls. Now, I did this on a separate layer. Here's the adjustment to the body as she goes over this. Yeah, so that's another thing I had to do. I also wanted her to rotate a little bit at the front. Now, of course, the problem with this is what you don't really want the front controlling the entire tail. But if you don't rotate it, I wanted a little bit of rotations in the y-axis. Providing you don't rotate it too much, you don't really notice the fact that the entire tail is moving because they're all moving independently. So yeah, you can use a little bit of artistic license there. And finally, the hands here. So again, use animation layers. There's a base animation, which is like a loop. The hands kind of bounce up and down along with the body. You can see it here. It's just the hands are on FK here. There's a kind of an up and down motion of the hands. And then on top of that, if you go to the right arm, for example, that's the left arm, you can see that you can then add in individual animation over the top of that, so the hands aren't just endlessly repeating the same thing. And finally, you want the hands to stick on the ground. Now, this is quite hard because the body control is moving forwards, but there's an easy way to do that as well, because what you can do, I'll just show you the right arm here. I'm just going to select it. One second. It's actually on these locators. I've constrained the hands to locators. So what I've done is, you can see you've got this kind of step pattern, and every time you see a flat area, that means that these hands are placed on the ground. So what you can do in this situation is just roughly have the hands placed each time she's putting them on the ground. And what that will give you when you bake out the animation is a kind of a very uneven step. You then constrain locators to each of these controls and you bake out the animation again. Now what this then gives you is the locators are in world space. So you can then adjust, these are locators here, I've constrained these controls of the bottom hands to locators. You can then constrain your hand controls, delete the animation, whatever animation you put on them, off, and constrain them back onto locators, and then just flatten the areas where the hands are on the ground, and that will stick the hands to the ground. And yeah, I mean, so it's just to say that with the use of layers, locators, and various other bits and pieces, you can take a rig that really is designed to stand up and sway around a bit like a cobra, and not move along the ground like a snake, and get it to do so. Anyway, it's a short video. Hope you found it useful.